Hey guys, so you guys have been wanting me to teach you how to make this one well. I'm gonna teach you right now, immediately, so I can get back to what I'm doing. All right. So, if any one of you have paid attention to the Discord channel on creations, I've taught, I've made a little tutorial on how to do a circle. So, oh, I went a little fast there because I think I'm building. I have never done a tutorial, but let me do this again. So what you want to do is to snap as many triangles foundations as you can until you reach this point, I believe. No. This point, where you have a gap of 2 triangle foundations. After that, you place a regular foundation on any one of these triangle foundations that you have, as you can see. Then you snap a triangle foundation on the regular foundation like so. You take and pick up the regular foundation, then snap the triangle foundations all together, like so. The end result should look something like a little star, almost like that. Here's in third person. Make sure you have pointed edges everywhere. That's how you know you're doing it right. This is a great way of making a circle, as I mentioned before. But this, I'll show you something a little extra later. But right now, it's it's how to build a well. So what's really important you got to make sure of is to get the right snap point with your fence foundation, like so. On daytime, you can see the little crease or little crack right there that you can use as your guideline. Let me see if I can pull up a torch and it'll help. Sort of, but generally at every pointed point of the structure, you want to perfectly align a fence foundation like so. Then do another one on the other point, like that. Do it one more time on another point. Sometimes it gets a little finicky. You can press R1 to venture through the different snap points of the structure that's near you, like so. Just spam R1 if you want to find the right snap point. But sometimes the game is a little finicky, so you have to move around to find like different camera angles to snap it in place properly. It's really frustrating. God damn it. Oh my god. This is why Ark needs to fix their game. Alright, there we go. Then you're able to somehow magically, because of the behavior of the fence foundations, I guess, you can find a snap point in between on these curves between the two fence foundations snapped at the point. Then you can create more snap points for the others that we've skipped. What the key point you want to get from this is that the circles need to be evenly spaced from each other, just like this. If they're a little close to each other in any way, you're doing it wrong, basically. Like that. If it's like close to each other and intersecting each other like that, it's not gonna look great, and you're not gonna make a good circle. After that, just follow the snap points. Make sure the circles are not intersecting. Almost got me there. And you'll eventually create a circle of fence foundations. Oh, damn it. Oh, I also just want to note, this idea is not mine. It's from a YouTuber I watch, Sithara's Ark. I'll link it down in the description later. You can watch his builds. He doesn't have any tutorials at all, except for like some building tips and stuff, I believe, but he only showcases his videos. He doesn't actually shows how he builds it, except for some videos of like smaller projects. Anyway, back to the build. The end result should look like this. A very interesting pattern. If you're on a public server or a boosted server, you probably get the admins mad or concerned because of how complex it looks. So watch out for that, because it might cause some problems. After that, you want to connect stone pillars, or any pillars of your liking, to the end snap point of the fence foundations, pointing towards outwards of the foundation structure or whatnot. Just snap it straight. Don't let any other snaps get in your way. I think this is the only way you can snap it either way, so you should be fine. Nothing's too complicated. What you could also do, which I'll show later, is that you could sink the foundation into the map to make the well appear lower, which I should do on the Dynamon server that I'm working on, just so it looks better. Alright. Okay, this is where stuff's gonna get hard because I don't have GCM. Let's just make a staircase. Another tip I would like to add: stairs are like your best friend when it comes to building. It's just so damn useful. Alright, we don't need triangles anymore. Yeah, that works. What you want to do now is to decide which way the peaked roof is gonna face. For this area, I'll probably make it face this way somewhat. If you planned out where it's gonna face, place a wood pillar in that direction, and then do symmetrically the exact same thing to the other direction, or the other point. Hopefully I got it right. If not, I'm gonna kill myself. Just kidding. You can always measure if it's the same by using a ceiling. And yep, should be perfect. And now to show another tip. Now you have to figure out which snap will be the right one in the middle, depending on where it's faced. I recommend, my best tip for this is just look at the wood pillar you placed above the stone pillars, and then just look straight down and find the exact straight snap point like that. It's pretty simple, I think. Then you build it up twice. Actually, to make this easier on survival and not without GCM, or without GCM, I recommend putting some pipes. This is optional, of course, but there's a little detail in this well, like a reservoir, and I found out they can just snap to any pipeline without water connected or anything. Place it as center as you can. Go up by 2, and then yeah, go up by 2. That's fine. That's good now. Because the pillar can cover it later, so you don't need to worry. You can test if it's center by using your reservoir. Let me just make that like so. And do we need that? We don't need that. Oh my god, let me get up. I love how I said I didn't need stone pillars, so I got rid of it from my hardware, then I need it again. It's whatever, just leave it open for now. Alright, should snap, right? Oh, only one, my bad. Only one pillar, or one pipe. You can save your resources by using a stone one, obviously. You don't need metal. Even so, they should be pretty cheap to make. Okay. 1 second. Okay. There we go. Now, back to the pillar thing. Same as before. Remember, if you're not doing the reservoir thing, it's fine. You don't need to. It's just a nice little detail. You can snap those. Oh, this is definitely not even, but you can eyeball it later if you want. Just do your best to find the center, or what you believe is the center. Next, place a ceiling on top of that pillar, the second pillar above your reservoir. And oh, a tip why you see this behavior about what I'm about to do is because certain ceilings have this attribute where if you see the logs facing a certain way, you can create new snap points basically by pressing R1 instead of going only horizontally on the sides like so. They can also go that way, intersecting the ceiling. So it's another good tip. That's how I did that roof over there, and it's made of ramps, no slope roofs, because I thought it looks nicer, and it's heavily inspired from again from Sithara's build. I'm trying to master his style of his latest build, this Viking stronghold or something like that. That's where I got this well designed from. There was like a small glimpse of a drive-by by a well I saw, and I was like, huh, how'd he do that? And figure it out. But back to this. You'll want to snap the fence foundation same way over here. Then place wood walls on the fence foundation. It creates this, an intersecting wall. Because normally, you only know that walls connect on either of the four sides of the ceiling, or a foundation. But with fence foundations, and the greatest tip from builders is that fence foundations are ridiculously overpowered and are key to complex builds, or more detailed builds. What I also like to do to this wall from Sithara's video is connect or snap the ramps to the wall like so. That's how you get that effect of a well, I guess, or like a roof to a well. I need to look up on my picture again on how I actually did this and completed it, just to make sure. Because I did this with GCM and it was a whole lot easier. Like so. You can now add, oops, lag, more pillars to the sides so it looks like it's holding up the roof instead of just the middle pillar. There you go. Creates that look. It's pretty cool. You can extend the roof of this well if you want by adding another ceiling, of course. Now what we do is add detailing. I love using catwalks for detailing because it adds more ledges and edges to a build. More details, basically, is what I like to say. You can add catwalks to the sides like this, just so it looks like it's more support somewhat, or it has more support somewhat. Pretty cool, I know. After that, you can decide on what you want to do to the roof. You can snap catwalks to the walls that we have placed underneath these ramps, like so, or you can put a catwalk on top, gives that little shape, and then maybe add, please don't mind my inventory, it's messy, I know, I need to organize, but you can add railings to this build if you want for more detail, or to stay or stick with a certain theme that I have going on right now in my place and my tribe mate's place, is add slope roofs, walls, slope wood wall, left or right, to give it that Nordic look, I guess. But for this, since the well is pretty small, I am going with rails because of my personal taste, that's all. So essentially, that's how you build the well. I hope you guys can build this on our server because of the rules. This is a ton of foundations, so I'm sorry. But if you want to do something like this, you gotta compromise a part of your base, pretty much, because of the foundation limit that we have. And yeah, you can put torches and decorate it as much as you want. And I'm also going to show you a couple more tips before the video ends. Okay. Another tip. If you notice this building right here, those things right there are not pillars or walls. They're door frames. And this is a pillar. To achieve this effect on your builds, to save foundations for your base and do this detailing, it's all in the hands of fence foundations. Again, like I said, it's overpowered. If you want to improve your builds or try other styles of building, you're gonna want to use a lot of fence foundations. They are key to many amazing things. Again, this is another style from Sithara's that I picked up. I knew that you could do this, but I never realized you can use it to that extent, to that detail. Yeah, I think this will be fun. So, when you place a foundation, snap a fence foundation to the edge like usual. If you know this building tip already. But if you realize the snap points, it's gonna change your freaking life like it changed me. So, like I said earlier, for PS4, just spam R1 to find the different snap points, and you'll realize that there are 2 snap points in that area where I placed the fence foundation. What you want is to place something right inside of the fence foundation, or the second snap point, I like to say. Again, Ark is finicky, so you're gonna have to be patient. A lot of these builds take patience, that take a lot of detail. And I'll show you what I mean. As you can see, you can make layered walls. That's how I added that detailing right here on this house and in this hatchery that I've made. All you gotta do, instead of walls of course, you put double door frames or single door frames, whatever you like. Just experiment, which is another tip I can give you. And then you'll come up with your very own style. You can add anything as long as it counts as like a thing that can snap to the foundation, of course. You can add catwalks to design, or add details to your walls and such. Greenhouse windows, gravestones for the roofs even, and rails. You can do pretty much anything. Oh yes, and the sinking foundation tip, which will be my last tip for this video, to keep it short. Say this is a foundation, but like you had a problem of it being too high, like somewhere over here. It's so high and you don't like that look. You want it lower into the ground, right? All you gotta do is this. You can sink it by a level right here, as you saw that behavior just now, but Ark is finicky. There you go. Sometimes you gotta mess around with it. This is how you can get it lower, little by little. Or a faster way to do it, a slightly faster way to do it, is to snap one pillar in the middle, and then one more pillar on whatever side, but for some reason it's not working on that. I guess it's the way I placed the pillar. There we go. That's if a pillar is lower than the other pillar, that means your fence or your foundation will snap even lower than before. Like that. You can see my highlight somewhat. See? By adding 2 pillars like that, this pillar being taller than this pillar, you can see that you make a step or levels of lowering your foundation. If you want to continue lowering it and those levels aren't good enough for you, like say you're making a pathway or something and you want it super low, then you do the same thing. Come on. Alright, whatever. We'll just do it one by one since it's not working with me. What you want to do now is to destroy this, because this foundation is lowered. Therefore, this pillar will be lowered. If you kept this over here with the pillar, this pillar would snap to the height of the previous pillar, which is why sinking foundations would not work. Or it's a lot easier to do it one by one like this. And if you do it quick enough, like so, lower this, pick this up, you save resources, and you can just do it again. Like so. And you could do this basically an infinite amount of times until you can't access or demolish a foundation, basically. As you can see, you can go super low. And what I mentioned is that you can lower the foundation. You can do this to the triangle foundation somewhat. You gotta play around with it, but same thing. Get the lowest possible snap point for your foundation. I recommend starting off with a regular foundation and then snapping triangles and then doing that step I taught you earlier. That's how you make the well a lot lower. And it'll look a lot better in my opinion, I believe. I gotta do that myself later. But yeah, that's how you do the well, and some other couple building tips that I've included into this video. Thank you, and I hope this helps.